Where did it go wrong for the Wu-Tang Clan? Where did it start to go wrong? Okay, well, that's a pretty good question. I like that. So I'm going to take the time out to answer that for you, my friend. Everyone who knows me knows I love the Wu-Tang Clan, came up with the Wu-Tang Clan. This was it. You know, when Wu-Tang came, it was a changing of the guard for hip-hop. It's saying, look at all these different styles. Look at the direction they going in. They had it on lock. Then here comes the Wu-Tang Forever album in 97. That was it. We had just lost Pac. We had just lost Biggie. The only thing they had left was Nas and Wu-Tang. And from the opening song, Triumph, that was it. That was when Triumph launched and dropped. Boom, 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 boom. That sold the album. By being a double disc CD, because that's when everybody figured out how to do double disc CD and realized they get paid twice instead of once. The Wu-Tang double CD was formed, and it made 4 million records sold, which is really double platinum. So they basically sold 2 million records, and with no commercial promotion, really. It wasn't really promoted until it came out. Sorry about that. So after the album was promoted and it came out, you started to notice things. And changes started happening. People started going through changes. And the changes weren't all that great. Everybody who got their money from the tour, it was fighting on the tour. People were going in different directions. Not when you have that many personalities, everybody got their own individual thing they want to do. And after Wu-Tang came out with their Wu-Tang Forever, it was a nightmare. Because everybody felt, okay, I got some money now. This is it. We rich. Wu-Tang running the whole rap thing. Everybody became individuals. And once everybody became individuals, it was no more longer, let's put everything back in the pot and then we all had something. That was the mentality when they were all broke. Now people got money. They got people whispering in their ear saying, you need a manager, you need an agent, I'm going to represent you. You need to start your own brand and build you up so that you can have something. Once you got outside people start coming in, people start moving a little different. Ray already had power with him. They already was like doing business moves. Ghost is starting his little thing and what he got going with his cream team, and Ray's got the all-American cream. It was just everybody doing their own thing. Meth is doing appearances with on people's albums and doing features because he was getting paid more than that for doing the album. And Def Jam kept messing around like, okay, when we gonna get this album? And you owe us this album. So Meth's like, all right, whatever. I'm gonna do this album. Don't worry, it's coming. So they kept working on getting the album done. They couldn't get the budget right, the timing right. They didn't know what they were doing at Def Jam because they were too busy transitioning their deal from Polygram. So a lot of stuff was going on, but the biggest stake through the heart within the 1 year that it all started to go left was the Riza. Everyone wanted the Riza's attention, but he couldn't be there for everybody's projects anymore like he used to. Riza had his own ideas and dreams. Everyone assumed with the song Tragedy that Riza was going to come out with an album, The Riza. So they was alright, Riza finna come out with an album. Never happened. Riza was producing, he was directing, and his martial arts based video for Triumph that he filmed way over in Japan, you know, that was basically the model for what he was doing anyway, was for Bobby Digital. This martial artist who's in the neighborhood of like Harlem, and he's like a superhero saving people from being robbed out of drugstores. He's like a comic book hero. So RZA spent millions of dollars into this budget. Everyone's like, man, this dude keep putting money after money after money into this movie. Now, RZA said it wasn't that much money. People from the Wu was like, man, he put up all that money, man. I think he put some of our money in that thing. And the Bobby Digital film, which he was trying to film it is as a series, which means you make a pilot one, then you put the pilot for testing to see if you're going to continue to make other ones. He had made like 2 full episodes of this thing. That first was supposed to be a movie called The Digital Bullet. Bobby Digital and The Digital Bullet. So he films a whole episode, and it's terrible acting in this film. And the budget is so cheesy. The sound, I mean, it's terrible. I don't even know how or why this was even made. Some of the special effects that they put in there, where his eyes is blue and shooting out, it's just so choppy that it's probably never coming out. I can almost rest assure you, you're probably just, you got a better chance of going on YouTube watching some of the split scenes from the like leaked footage somebody put out of this movie. It is just, you wouldn't want this out if you're the RZA. This would hurt your brand, because this is where it all went wrong. So he comes out with Bobby Digital, the soundtrack. So people think there's a movie coming. No movie follows this soundtrack. So you just led people down this road to nowhere, and then they don't even get what this Bobby Digital is now. It's just like, oh, the RZA lost his mind. So they, you know, BOBBYDIGAL, digital. I said, what in the world is happening to Wu-Tang? Then they made a business mistake. They started out, somebody pitched in the idea for Wu Wear. So they had a Wu store. Then they tried to build, they had a Wu-Tang store selling all the Wu-Tang clothes, which was great. Get the niche while you can. Then they made a mistake by oversaturating. When you expand too fast, you're not leaving space for growth. Now you need the growth to make up for the expansion. They got so much coming so fast, they thinking this is the time to push for more. And then you got people like Ray that's pushing that. Yo, right, man, we need to push it all that right now, right? You know, some people gonna want all their stuff at one time. We need to have the blue joints, the red joints. We need all that. We need all that right now, on top of everything. So while he's complaining about what they need at the store, you got other members in the group who like, hey, when is our turn to come out? When the RZA finna be there for us? You know, you got Capadonna who came out with a crazy CD, but it didn't get promoted like it should have been. You God is like, look, I can't get no promotion. Inspector Deck dropped with no promotion. It's like, whoa, what's going on with the Wu-Tang? And the problem is, it was oversaturated. You got the Wu-Tang Killer B CD come out. You have another group with the Wu-Tang, they the Baby Wu. You got GP Wu. You got Wu over here. You got Wu over there. The symbol is everywhere. People can't try to follow this. The casual Wu-Tang fan who just wants to watch something from the Wu-Tang, they are not going to understand what's going on with all these Wu-Tang CDs. Now, a fanatic is going to have every last one of those CDs that drop. But your average casual fan, this is going to hurt your brand because they don't understand it. You're taking the attention away from you, and it's everywhere now. So it's like, what's going to make you so special? We know that, but they're not going to know that. You basically got a Wu-Tang logo and another group in here representing you. And they can't identify with any of them. They're like, where's Method Man? Where is Raekwon? Where's Ghostface? Where's the Wu-Tang Clan? It's not them. Then you got, it's the Killer Army now. You know, as dope as they are, you got Sons of Man, Wu-Tang. Shing! You know, everybody had a Wu-Tang affiliation and a logo. It was too oversaturated. Too fast. Once that album hit, everybody wanted to drop their albums. And when you got that many personalities and that many people oversaturating your stuff, people had heard basically Wu-Tang albums without it being Wu-Tang. Without it being called a Wu-Tang album. So when they come together and they did something like 8 Diagrams is okay, but by that time people were worn out. They were worn out. It was oversaturated with stuff, and you just ruined what could have been something great. Because when you came out with the W album and it had everybody back, it was so many things had happened since the Wu-Tang Forever album that it was never going to be the same. RZA tried to think, he thought, if I keep everybody in this mansion, get them away from everything, we could just write, everything's going to fall in line. Like, that's how you get the Wu members back. We all going to be living in the same crib. But you living in a Wu mansion. People got different lives. Not everybody vibing the same way with each other no more. People are growner. They're not going to take certain insults that they used to take back in the day. And RZA can't RZA his way through it. Him and Method Man was fighting through the entire process. RZA, Method Man's mad. He's pouting because he's mad RZA done cut half his bars on almost every other song. And Meth's like, man, F this album. I mean, that's how his attitude was, you know, and he just in one of his mood where he just was foul. Even when they were doing interviews, he was just in there just whatever. Just trying to make everybody else day bad because he was in a bad mood. So that's just how that went out. And after that, W fell, and you know the breakup at Loud Records was coming. Loud Records was going under. Everybody was circling to try to get something out. That's why Iron Flag came like right away. Like, oh man, we got to get back to the real. People was like, man, this album wasn't tight at all. You got to get back to giving us the real. Like, we need that real right now. And they came right with that Iron Flag quick. I was like, man, Iron Flag coming out already? It's like, yeah, it's in the stores. I'm like, in the stores? I ain't even see no promotion. Iron Flag dropped right away. Loud couldn't. They trying to get as much money. Steve Rifkin was trying to get as much money as he could because he knew he was going to sell the deal to Sony. He couldn't tell nobody about the deal because if Steve Rifkin told anybody about the deal, they might not have been too excited about it. So that's where Wu-Tang decided to go left. So everybody ended up breaking off, focusing on their own careers. But see, the RZA owned everybody's publishing. He owned it all. Him and his, I think his cousin, brother, or one of them. But they owned everything. So he gave them all their freedoms. Because he said Wu-Tang's a brotherhood. And he did something he didn't have to do. He gave every single last one of them their freedom. He was like, every last one of them came to me at one point and said, can you let me out this deal? And he let all of them go under one condition, that when he throw the W up, everybody has to come together to make that album, to give something back. That is the fairest trade. No record executive in the world will give you back your publishing and all of that for nothing. The Riza did that for them. He did that for his brothers. So none of them could ever say RZA didn't look out for me. If you don't make it now, that's on your own accord. If a man gives you back your publishing rights, you know, ain't too much more to say. And RZA, he's a man of many faces, so he did the right thing when he went back to being the RZA, but then he's all these other different faces also. And he got different things that he want to get done, and making another Wu-Tang album right now is just, it's not enough money in it. And he understands that. He would love to make one just to make one, but he knows everybody else's personality and how everybody now says success, and they didn't have individual success. It's hard for them to tell them how to fall in line. They all want to be the star, you know, and they all want the beats to go the way they want them to go. And now everybody's got an opinion on something now. So RZA don't really want to be a part of it. He said, you know what? If we come together and do this again, I'm not going to be the head of it no more. RZA, you do it now. Or Ghost, you do it. He delegated it down to them. So now, if anybody has a problem with the next project, y'all don't have to bring it to RZA. Y'all bring it to the person that put it together. So the chances of another Wu-Tang album coming out is very slim to none. I would say at this point, the Wu don't need to come together to make another album. They good enough to make individual albums on their own and to go in that direction. Who I think is the best lyrical out of Wu-Tang, it's very hard to say. Method Man is the most diverse out of all of them. You could put him to rap with anybody and he'll shine. Certain people have to have the moment. Like the beat is right, the flow, the tempo is right, and they can come off. Meth comes off on everything. No matter what it is, Meth can get to it. Then you have Capadonna. Kappa, everybody in the Wu will tell you Kappa is one of the most vicious line for line there is. Deck is very underrated. Deck was always had bars for everybody. And his wasn't always as profane. He didn't have a lot of profanity in his rhymes. He wanted you to really grasp on hold of what he was saying. And Master Killer was dope. His style was dope. He wasn't that strong as a lyricist as everybody would think he was, but it was his delivery. It was to the point, and it was punishing. Ghostface, his style, it was mostly, he had the voice. Like they call him the laser beam vocalist. Because his come direct, high-pitched, direct voice, and it just slices. The Genius had the power deep. It felt like you was being talked to by an uncle or a father. The way he talks to you is like a preacher, like he's hammering it down. He just breaks it down every element. Like somebody who knows it all. A genius. U-God was somebody who seemed like he was the party beat type guy. And the freestyler. He freestyled a lot of rhymes. And he wasn't the sharpest in the Wu at all. People say he was the worst in the Wu-Tang Clan. Well, if U-God was the worst, look who he's rapping with. You rapping with some of the most dangerous MCs in the world. And you say you the last out of that? If somebody told me I was the last member of Wu-Tang, I was the worst one, I'd be thank you. I'd be like, shoot, that means I'm qualified to be here. Look where I'm at in this room. That's like saying, dude, you the worst person in this All-Star game or the Pro Bowl. I'd be like, I made the Pro Bowl, brother. But freestyling, you know, you gotta give it to you. Who else was just devastating with the mic skills? Oh, I ain't really go through the Riza style. The Riza style, and you know, everybody say the Riza taught all of them. The Riza polished all of them on how to rap to certain beats, how to count the bars, and how to do structured rap. Basically, everybody can rap. You know what I'm saying? It's like anybody you can find can rap, but you find out it's more to making a song once you get in the studio. So he made all of those guys studio savvy and, you know, ready to go to the next level of making records and showed them how to make records. So he's a genius on that level. And I mean, the RZA got bars and knowledge because he read so many books. You know, Nas read a lot of books too, but he ain't read as much as the RZA. I remember they had that conversation about certain books they had read. And him and Nas had read like the similar type of books. And RZA was able to break it down to him exactly what the book meant. You know, and how certain books were in code. And what they was really saying was this, and what they really was saying was that. And then they get really deep with it, you know. So, but RZA could do all of those styles they do as far as delivery. His thing is, I'm gonna assist on the track. RZA ain't gonna try to outshine you. He don't care if you shine, cause he's getting all the money. So. I'm letting this go on, but too long. I'm sorry to take up all y'all time, man. I'll cut it off right here. But yeah, that was a great question. The guy was like, man, just, if you tell me, you know, like, man, where did y'all start going wrong for the Wu-Tang? That's where it started going wrong. Go to the Bobby Digital thing. That's where it started going left.